My name is Raine Whitaker, and if you asked me 6 months ago who I trusted the most in the world, I would have given you two names. Asher, my husband, and Lila, my best friend since I was 17. Funny how things change, not slowly, but all at once, like the earth cracks under you, and suddenly everything you knew is gone. That's what betrayal does. It doesn't knock. It doesn't ask permission. It just walks in, dressed like love, and rips your soul apart. You know, I always thought betrayal would come with red flags, sirens, and gut instincts screaming at you. But no, sometimes it comes wrapped in familiarity, in the people who kiss your forehead and say they love you, who sit at your dinner table and laugh like they belong. And even when it's all happening right in front of your eyes, you don't want to believe it. You keep convincing yourself they would never. Not them. Never them. But they did. I still remember the first day I met Asher. It was at a coffee shop in Asheville. I spilled my drink all over his laptop, and instead of getting mad, he smiled and said, "Guess the universe wanted us to talk." That line, it stayed with me. And over time, so did he. He was kind, soft-spoken, a little awkward in crowds, but he looked at me like I was a wonder he didn't deserve. And I fell for that. Hard. We got married 4 years later. Nothing fancy, just a small wedding in my parents' backyard. Lila was my maid of honor. She cried harder than I did when I walked down the aisle. She toasted us that night with trembling hands, saying, "You two are the kind of love people write songs about." I believed her. God, I believed her. Lila and I met in college. She was my roommate, my partner in crime, my person. We got matching tattoos after graduation, a tiny moon and sun on our wrists. She always said, "We balance each other. No matter what, we'll never lose this." I never thought she'd be the one who'd break me. For the first few years, life felt like a dream. Asher and I moved into a cozy little house. We'd leave each other notes on the fridge, slow dance in the kitchen on Sunday mornings. He would kiss me like I was air. I used to wake up in the middle of the night just to stare at him, whispering to myself, "Thank you, God. Thank you for this man." And Lila? She was always around. She had her own key to our house. She'd show up unannounced, crash on our couch, eat leftovers like it was her second home. And I loved that. She was the sister I never had. I trusted her with everything. Every secret, every tear, every fear. And I trusted him with my heart. The first time I noticed something strange was during our anniversary dinner, our 6th year. Lila came with us. She wasn't supposed to, but she said her boyfriend had canceled on her and she didn't want to be alone. I said yes without thinking, because that's what you do for people you love. I should have seen it then. The way Asher looked at her when she laughed. Not a glance, not casual a look. Like his eyes had just remembered something beautiful. And the way she adjusted his collar and called him Ash, a name only I ever used. I brushed it off. I told myself I was being insecure, ridiculous. I mean, Lila had known him almost as long as I had. They were like siblings, right? Close, comfortable. But that night, when I got out of the shower, I found his phone buzzing. A message from Lila. Just a heart emoji. No context. I stood there, wrapped in my towel, staring at that glowing screen, my heartbeat pounding in my throat. But I didn't open it. I just put it down. Because I trusted them. Because I wanted to trust them. Days passed. Then weeks. Then months. I started noticing little things. Asher's phone was suddenly always face down. He smiled at his texts more. Lila started dressing up more when she came over. Her laughter louder. Her touch lingered longer. They would exchange glances when they thought I wasn't watching. But I always was. There was this one evening, I'll never forget it. I had made dinner. All three of us sat down like usual. I went to the kitchen to grab the wine. When I came back, they were sitting close. Too close. And Lila was touching his wrist, whispering something that made him chuckle softly. I dropped the wine bottle. It shattered. And in that loud crash, something inside me did too. They jumped up, helped me clean, acted concerned, asked if I was okay. And I smiled. I smiled through the blood on my finger, because the pain in my heart was so much worse. Still, I didn't confront them. I convinced myself I was just being overly sensitive. I even apologized to them for being distant lately. I baked them cookies one weekend, sat with them and watched movies while they shared inside jokes. And every time my chest tightened, I told myself, "You're being dramatic. They love you." They wouldn't. But one night, the truth came crashing in, and there was no unseeing it. It was late. Asher was working late, and Lila had texted that she was going home early from her yoga class. Something didn't sit right. My gut screamed this time. I got in my car and drove to his office. The lights were off. His car was gone. I felt sick. So I drove to Lila's apartment. I don't even remember how I got there, just the shaking of my hands and the pounding in my chest. I walked up the stairs, stood outside her door. It was slightly open. Maybe she forgot to shut it. Maybe it was fate. I pushed it gently. I still wish I hadn't. There they were, in her living room, on the couch, kissing, deep, like they'd done it 1,000 times. Her hands tangled in his hair, his fingers on her waist, my husband's hands. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I stood there for what felt like eternity. Then the floor creaked. They looked up, eyes wide, guilt flooding their faces. Lila's voice broke first. "Raine, wait." But I didn't. I turned and ran, my whole body trembling, heart collapsing into itself. I drove aimlessly for hours, ended up on a cliffside overlook, screaming into the night like it would fix anything. The next morning, Asher came home, eyes red. He tried to talk. It just happened. I didn't plan it. "I love you, I do." I laughed. I laughed so hard I cried. I asked him, "Do you love her too?" He didn't answer. That silence told me everything. And Lila? She sent a message. Just one. "I never meant to hurt you. I don't know how we got here. I'm so sorry." But sorry doesn't undo betrayal. Sorry doesn't erase the nights I stayed up worrying while they made love behind my back. Sorry doesn't fix the shattered woman staring at herself in the mirror, asking what she did wrong. I left him, packed 2 bags, and disappeared for a while. I stayed with an old aunt in Vermont, surrounded by silence and snow. I cried for weeks. I hated them. I hated myself for not seeing it sooner. But somewhere in that pain, I found strength I never knew I had. I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm over it. I'm not. Some nights, I still dream of our wedding, of our first kiss, of Lila brushing my hair before big dates. But now I don't wake up with tears. I wake up with fire, with purpose. If you've been there, if someone you trusted cut you open, please hear me. You are not weak for loving. You are not foolish for trusting. You are human, and you deserve better. I lost my husband. I lost my best friend. But I found myself, and that was worth surviving for.